today I want to talk about the best writing advice I've ever received, and we're doing it in a pretty location. Hey, what's up you guys, I'm Sara Lubratt. I really hope that you can hear me and that the wind's not too bad. I am at the top of a hike right now, and I thought that it would be fun to film this video with this gorgeous view behind me. But I wanted to come up to this lake because I have filmed a video up here before, and I did not know that there would be this many people today. But I wanted to give you guys a good view while we talk about the best writing advice I've ever heard. There are lots of people around me today, so we're just going to jump into things and try and make this as painless as possible. If you go on to enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a big thumbs up because that really supports my channel, and leave a comment down below about what the best writing advice you've ever received is. And now without further ado, let's get into my top 5 best pieces of writing advice that I've ever heard. The first piece of writing advice that I want to talk about today is that creativity is a muscle. There's a quote by Louis L'Amour that says, "Start writing no matter what. The water does not flow until the faucet is turned on." I meet so many people nowadays that tell me that they wish that they were more creative, especially after I tell them that I'm an author. And what I try to tell these people is that creativity is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it's going to be and the more active it's going to want to be. Creativity is a muscle just like anything else you have to practice in order to be better at that thing. So whether it's creating art or writing or something else in the creative realm, the only way to get better at that thing is to practice, because creativity is a muscle. This was a game changer when I figured it out, because I was getting really frustrated with the fact that I could only write for like an hour a day. And then when I was doing it consistently, I was able to get that hour up to about 2.5 to 3 hours a day before I would feel like I was starting to run out of creative juice. So creativity really is a muscle, and you just have to exercise it in order for it to get stronger. There's a quote by William Faulkner that says, "Get it down, take chances. It may be bad, but it's the only way you can get something really good." The second piece of writing advice is to finish things. Both Brandon Sanderson and Neil Gaiman talk a lot about this.
Learning to focus on, am I satisfied with the writing? Am I proud of what I've done? And making sure that I am, because it's a real achievement to finish things. I meet a lot of people who want to be writers. This class excluded. You want to bet what percentage of them actually finish a novel? Not very many. If you finish a novel, you are already in a more select crowd. The most select crowd you can probably be in as a writer, if you're looking at pure divisions of numbers, right? Pure drop-offs between achieving certain goals. So be proud of the fact that you're finishing things. Focus on what you have power over. You have power over whether you finish your stories. You have power over whether you're consistent. You have power over whether, you are excited and interested in the stories you're creating. You do not have as much power over whether you're going to make it or not.
Everything that you do as a young writer is going to be important in getting your voice. But the most important thing is just writing. The most important thing that will teach you who you are is you write and you finish things if you can.
But finishing things grows your self-confidence so that you are then able to finish more things. I think that it's very important to try and grow self-confidence in a variety of areas. And one of the ways to grow self-confidence with writing is to finish things. You can also start this in areas that are not writing. If you just want to tell yourself that you are going to drink a glass of water, get up right now, go get a glass of water, and then drink it. You can take really small steps to start building self-confidence, but ultimately finishing writing projects is a great way to build your writing self-confidence. Those birds are talkative today. And one of my favorite things about just finishing projects is that there are no right ways to get to the end of something. You don't have to write in order. That was a big game changer for me too, was that I don't have to write in chronological order. And sometimes I write better if I'm not writing in order. It can also help me figure out what's going on with the story. So I love the idea of just finishing things, but there's no right way to get to the end of something. The third piece of writing advice is to not edit while you're drafting. If you are working on the rough draft of something, don't edit while you write. This is a really hard one for new writers to stop doing, but if you get caught up in editing things while you're drafting, the odds of you actually finishing that project are much, much lower than just waiting until you're done with the project to then go back and edit. There's an amazing quote by Jodi Piccult that says, "You might not write well every day, but you can always edit a bad page. You can't edit a blank page." And that quote is absolutely up on my writing motivation board because I need reminders of that sometimes. I've got a couple more quotes for you guys on this one. And this next one is by Michael Lee, and it says, "The first draft reveals reveals the art, revision reveals the artist. This quote is also up on my writing motivation board that I keep in front of my writing desk, and it says, "I'm writing a first draft and reminding myself that I'm simply shoveling sand into a box so that later I can build castles." And that one is by Shannon Hale. And then my last quote that I have for you guys on this one is a quote by Terry Pratchett, and it says, "The first draft is just you telling yourself the story." I really like this quote by Terry Pratchett because it alleviates the pressure that your first draft needs to be any good. The point of a rough draft is to be rough. And then there's another quote that I didn't write down on my cheat sheet, but there's another quote about not comparing your rough draft to somebody's published final work, because it has gone through so many rounds of revision, often beta readers, often a professional editor, well before you actually get to read it. So if you compare your roughest draft to a completed novel, you're never going to get anywhere. Which is why the Shannon Hale quote is on my writing motivation board. And I know I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. "I'm writing a first draft and reminding myself that I'm simply shoveling sand into a box so that later I can build castles." That's what editing is for. All you have to do is finish your first draft and prove to yourself that you can, and then you can go back and revise and edit and make any of the changes later to make it resemble a little bit more of a pulled together idea. Okay, and there's another quote that I didn't write down but I just remembered, and I want to say it's by Stephen King, or maybe it's by Neil Gaiman, and it's, "Write your rough draft, nobody ever has to look at it, and then when you go back and edit it, make it look like you knew what you were doing all along," or something like that. The fourth piece of really helpful writing advice that I wanted to share with you guys today is to aim for being better but not perfect. Choose to continue learning and choose to continue gaining knowledge. But perfection is unattainable and progress is progress, and as long as you are getting better, you're getting better. And I know I say it in a lot of my videos, but progress is progress, and I will continue to stand by that. And tip number 5 is to keep writing. There's a quote by Regina Brett that says, "A writer writes. If you want to be a writer, write." And it's so simple, but I need to remind myself of that sometimes. There's a debate on the difference between a writer, an author, and a published author, and I believe that a writer is somebody who writes, an author is someone who has finished something, and a published author is someone who has published one of those completed works. I am currently an author. I am currently working on becoming a published author, and if you want to see more like that, make sure you subscribe. But with this, I also wanted to remind you guys that writing is one of the few things in life that has no time limit. It knows no age. You can start writing when you're very, very young. I think I wrote my first book when I was 6. Wasn't any good, but I wrote it when I was 6. And writing is something that you can continue on doing well past retirement age. Writing really knows no age, and so as long as you write, you are a writer. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video today. I hope the audio wasn't too bad with the wind. I hope you liked the view. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I am currently posting 2 videos a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!